2005, 25 minus 20, 2009, whatever that is. Long time. Um, and so, yeah, I've been doing that. And then I've been in the business for working on my own since 2004. So, yes, about 21 years. Um, and yeah, I've been using Premiere since the 90s when a friend of mine, when I had to do my senior film, I had to, in film school, we had to do some special effects, and a buddy of mine had Premiere at his place that he worked at. So I learned Premiere there, and then I've been using it ever since. So yeah, so I love doing video. It's great, and so it's definitely I get to do something that I love. I'm one of those lucky people that loves their job. So, but. I do want to say right up front, as I was explaining to Anissa beforehand, my wonderful 8-year-old twins gave me a wonderful present this past weekend, which was the cold that they had had for the last 2 weeks. And so you can tell I'm a little under the weather. So you might see me coughing. I'm going to do my best to hit mute on the mic so that you don't all have to hear that. But if you see me coughing and you don't hear anything, I'm saving you all from that. But anyway, let's get started. So tonight, what I'm going to do is adventure. Yes, Brad, well done. Well, it's actually just adventure, not castle adventure. So, um, it's the first video game with an Easter egg for those who read Ready Player One or saw the movie. Um, so tonight I'm going to talk about Premiere, and what I'm going to gear it towards is cutting together something for social media and some of the tools that you can use inside of Premiere that will help you work a little bit faster and save you time. I don't know from the group like how many people have used Premiere, how many people consider themselves really experienced with it or know it really well. I'm going to assume for the sake of this presentation that you all have some level of experience with Premiere. You know how to get footage in, maybe do a little bit of basic editing and then spit something out, to get up online. So yeah, hopefully the things that I'll show you will help you work a little bit faster. Um, it's kind of a high level view of these things, but I'm happy to dive in a little bit deeper if you need me to. And if we have time at the end, um, you can ask me questions about different components and different things that we haven't talked about, and I'm happy to answer any questions on those kind of things as well. Um, so let me share my screen and we will get started here. Share. Okay, I gotta share sound. Okay. All right, and I'm going to do this. And Anissa, I don't think I'll be able to see the questions as they pop up. So if anything
That's
comes up to what
okay.
I'm talking about, just feel free to pop in and say, "Hey, we got a question."
You got it. No problem.
All right. There was the first cough. All right, let's get started. So I've got this video here, and this is a little thing I put together for this demo. I would ask that you would all please not base my skill level on this demo that I put together of this video. No one's going to ever hire me to do tourism for San Diego, but I had to put something together, and so I wrote some really bad voiceover and found some images that I had around the office here to put together this tourism video for San Diego. Now, please understand, San Diego is an amazing city, and this video will not sell it to its fullest potential, but for the sake of this demo, it'll work wonderfully. All right, so let's go ahead and play it here, and then we'll kind of talk about what we're going to do to it and what needs to happen here. So let's go ahead and play it. San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling downtown is filled with both residents and also, I should say, playback may not be perfect over Zoom because it's Zoom. So if the video's kind of stuttery, just bear with me. And workers. Our trolley systems brings shoppers, fun seekers, as well as people headed to work every day into downtown. So one of the great things about San Diego is our central library. It has an amazing dome on the top that makes a crazy wind sound when the wind picks up, but it also has a school built into it, as well as many conference rooms for people to rent and use. Balboa Park is a beautiful place to spend the day. Our museums are filled with amazing sights, and it's perfect for the kids or an afternoon walk. La Jolla is one of our crown jewels. Stunning shorelines make for wonderful days at the beach. The waves are perfect for surfing, and the water great to swim in. Come visit San Diego. Okay, so there is our video. So the first thing I want to talk about is is what's called text-based editing. So when you bring in anything into Premiere, you've got this import page that's right here. And you've got these three things over here: import, edit, and export. There are three different pages inside Premiere. And within the import tab, you have auto transcribe. And that will basically transcribe any video clip that comes in. But you can set it up to just do it per sequence or on every clip that comes in. Now, I don't usually set it up for every clip that comes in to transcribe it, just because a lot of these clips are just B-roll. There's no audio on it. So I have it set up to auto transcribe only clips in a sequence, which we have right here. So let's go back to our edit tab. And so all of that voiceover that I recorded, along with me being on camera, if I come to this text panel, you can see in my transcript, it's right here. San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling You can see here as we play the video, things get highlighted there that are being said because it creates a transcript for it. Now, I will warn you ahead of time, this is AI creating this, and it doesn't get every word right. For stuff like this, it's probably pretty close to 100%, but I do a lot of corporate work with a lot of like scientists and other kind of corporate people, and a lot of times they use acronyms or big words or like scientific terms or things like that. Doesn't always get those right, but for the most part, it does pretty well. But what it allows me to do is I can go to any point in my timeline just by clicking on a word. I can search for, if like I want to find out where, now granted, this is 1 minute long, but let's say we had a much longer video. Where did I talk about beaches? If I type in beach in my search tab right up here, you'll see it highlights where beach was used, and I can go to that point right in my timeline. The other nice thing that it allows me to do is I can edit things out. So let's go back up here. Now, there's that part where I do that amazing on-camera bit talking about oh yeah, look at this, La Jolla. La Jolla. That's not La Jolla, but good job, Adobe AI. It's not how we spell it. Let's find that on-camera bit, the essential library part. So let's click right here. Now, let's say, so it says here, so one of the great things about San Diego is our central library. It has an amazing dome on the top that makes a crazy wind sound when the wind picks it up. Let's say, you know what? I don't know what I was thinking when I did that line. We need to get rid of it. Now, I can come down to my timeline and cut it out, or I can just highlight that part and then hit delete. Oops. Okay, let's try that one more time. I can highlight just that part. Come on, Premiere, play nice tonight. And I can hit delete. Premiere. Okay, I'm using the beta version tonight, and it's not always going to get along. There we go. Let's try just cut. And there we go. So it's removed that part for me. So now if I play this part back, central library, but it also has a school built into it. So you can see I was able to edit that clip, not by editing the video clip itself, but just by using the text panel. And that is, for some of the work that I do, it really is a help to be able to just look at what's over here and find things, first of all, to be able to search for it, but also be able to edit in that text panel. A lot of times I send transcripts to clients of just the sound, the voiceover or the interviews, and they can send me notes back just by crossing stuff out. And then I can make the edits in the text panel, never even really touching the timeline, and just by pulling those sound bites out in the text panel. So it's a really great way to work. And we'll come back to that text panel a little bit later when we get closer to the end to help us with one other thing. So that's text-based editing. Let's move on to search. So, excuse me, one other thing I wanted to talk about was if you need to find a clip. Now, if we come over here, you can see I have a ton of clips here in all these bins. And if I wanted to find something, coming soon in a future version of Premiere. Again, I'm using the beta version, and you can test this out yourself if you download it. If I go to search, they now have what's called Media Intelligent Search. So let's go back and look for beaches. So in this search panel, if I type beach, you'll see that it's going to, it's giving me no results, huh? Let's try this. Waves. So I'm going to search for waves, and you'll see that it's going to go through my entire project, all the footage that I have in here, and find all the clips with waves in it. It'll have anywhere where I talk about waves down here in the voiceover because it's transcribed. It has that information. So it's telling me in this voiceover demo clip, there's the word waves. In the sequence, it uses waves. And then at some point, it's going to show me all the video clips. It takes a little bit of time to do the search. But up here will be all the clips that I have waves on, or waves in, I should say. There they go. And so I can kind of go through and find the one, like where was that one shot of the waves that I liked the most? And I can go through here and then I can just right click on it and choose reveal in project. And then over in my bin, it will highlight that clip for me so I can go through and watch it. And I can search for other stuff. Let's search for cars maybe, and it'll show me all the clips that have cars in it. You can really, it's pretty amazing how well it will go through and sort of tag all of the clips with different things in it and find it. It's there it goes. Yeah, so you can see any clip with a car in it, it's going to show me, even little toy cars. So yeah, it's a really handy tool to go through and find your footage and look for things. Much better than trying to go through and just scrub through every clip and see what's there. And now you can easily just search by that keyword and it will locate that clip for you in that media search. So
Quick question for you, Eric.
yeah,
Teresa is asking, she says, can it easily find the ums and ahs, all those filler words in the transcript? Would you find
yes.
that through that search that you had or the transcript?
Yes. So what happens with filler words is that it usually eliminates them. And but you have the option to turn on to see those filler words if you want to see them there. When I do a lot of work for my corporate clients and I create transcripts of interviews, I turn on usually that filler word so that they see everything because they usually make scripts based on that. And I want them to see the ums and ahs. But there is a setting that will turn that off inside the transcript so that you won't see that. And there's a reason why you want to have that option, and I'll kind of talk about that in a little later about why you would want to turn that off. But yes, you can have that ability to see that.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yep. Okay, so going back through the video, you may have noticed that I'm going to get off that. You may have noticed that there was a clip here where there was just a blank spot, as well as people headed to work every day. Now, the reason there's a blank spot there is I really like this shot, but later in the shot, if we, I'm going to double click on it, so now we can see the whole take here. The shot starts off kind of good, but then it doesn't end very well. So I don't like the end of it, but I really like how it starts, just that portion of it. But I don't have any more of it. You see, that's kind of the beginning of the shot, but I need to fill that space. So there's a new tool that's coming soon that's called Gen Extend. And what I can do is I can click on this and I can come down here and I can drag this out, and it is going to, using AI, generative AI video, it's going to create up to 2 seconds of video and up to 10 seconds of audio based on that clip. So it's going to give me however much, I think it was about a second, maybe a second and a half there of clip that I needed. So it's going to use AI to build that for me. So basically, it takes the clip, sends it up to the cloud, does its magic, and then sends it back here and fills it in on my timeline. Now, it does take a few, anywhere from like 30 seconds to a minute to do, just because it's got to upload it and download it and figure it all out and do all the math and everything. Sometimes you get some really fun results with this that don't work out quite as planned. But for a lot of times, for most situations like this, it works pretty well. Um, I use this kind of stuff a lot when I do interviews and I have to cut in the middle of somebody talking, and then I have to transition out and I need them to be sort of, done talking, but yet they say something right after that. And so I don't have the extra space where this kind of tool I can stretch them out. I can find that spot where they're done talking and they're just looking at the camera and stretch that out. And then I can have the space to do the transition that I need. So,
So that kind of lends itself to a question that Scott just asked. He said,
yep.
when the words are removed or added, does the video lip syncing get off kilter or off alignment? How do you work with that?
Are you talking about like with this sort of with the Gen Extend or with something else?
I think he was asking it right before you started the Gen Extend.
Oh,
Um,
with the text-based editing?
mhm.
Yeah, it will keep everything in sync. So, all
That's
right. And so we got our new footage. Let's play it back and see how it looks here.
As well as people headed to work every day.
Looks pretty good to me. Let me go a little bit bigger on that screen. Actually, you know what? Let's just go full screen.
Yeah, you're right. Girl, did it help people?
Who doesn't like a little backwards video? I mean, come on. That's always funny to hear, especially when people are eating. I love that. Anyway, I digress. All right, let's see how it looks.
As well as people headed to work every day into downtown.
That looks pretty good. I mean, I can't even tell where the clip started. But I mean, yeah, this is all generated, AI generated stuff. It even got the little camera shake in there. So look at that. So boom. I've got the extra footage that I need, filled that gap, and so I'm all good. So again, Gen Extend is technology that's coming in Premiere. I'm not sure when they're going to add it in, hopefully soon. Um, but it is a great tool for when you just need to add a little bit more to your clip, either at the head or the end, and you need to, just get a little bit extra on there. Great tool.
Another
Yeah.
quick question. Brad he brings up a good point. He says he thinks it's going to require a subscription to the Video Gen AI credits in order to use it in After Effects and Premiere Pro. What can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah. Well, unfortunately, yes, I think that is the case. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly what the specifics are. I think Adobe is still, as far as I understand, Adobe is still working out how that's all going to go down and what the cost is going to be on everything. They maybe have announced it yet. I haven't seen it, the final numbers yet, but unfortunately, yes, that features like this you'll have to use credits for once it goes live. And that is a that is a topic of discussion that we could have maybe when we're all done because it's I yeah I, I think Adobe's going to open themselves up to some criticism for that. There's going to be a lot of people unhappy about that, but I realize where they're coming from. I know the that's needed to create this, and so yeah, they have to find some sort of ROI for all the investment and the money that they put into it. So I understand that as a business owner, but yes, the bottom line is there will be for this feature, there will be probably an extra cost that you'll have to have. So I'm not sure how it's going to work because I think they're changing the way you do Creative Cloud plans, and then they have Firefly plans. And I think that this feature in particular will fall not under the Firefly plan. It'll fall under the Creative Cloud plan, and they're having like two tiers of that, like a Pro plan and like a premium plan, or I don't know. I'm not quite sure how. So I would be willing to bet within another month or so, they're going to have all that information out, though. NAB is a big trade show for video professionals. Adobe usually makes a lot of announcements at that, and I'm sure that that will come up and they'll have that announcement. So stay tuned from them. But yeah, you're gonna have to start paying for this. But when you need it, it comes in handy, and it's a great thing to have. Um, okay, let's move on. So the next thing I want to kind of show here is there's a couple clips that needed a little bit of color correction. So I'm going to kind of dive into that to show you how, just in case people are unfamiliar with how to color correct, it's really pretty simple. I can actually just show the easiest way is to come up here. This little button up here is your workspaces button. And if you click on it, you can go to your color workspace.
For those
And
who may be watching the YouTube recording, I know that his video window may be blocking the upper right corner, but it's the first icon in the upper right corner.
oh, okay. Is it getting blocked by something here? Is that
Just
better?
it's not you here, but on the YouTube live stream.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So this clip to me looks a little bit green, so I'm just going to grab my tint and adjust that over a little bit just to fix it. So basically, when you go to that color workspace, it opens up this color panel, and within this color panel is where all your color correction is. And you can, if you want to, if you have a LUT, you can add that here. You can adjust the basics, which is like your temperature, so you can make things a little bit cooler, make things a little bit warmer. The tint, so that one looked a little bit more green to me, so I balanced it out a little bit. You can adjust your exposure to make it a little bit brighter. There's another shot that looked a little dark, this one with the mom and the little girl. So sweet. And then I'll adjust my tint on that just a little bit. So that's looking pretty good. I think that, let's see, that one I might want to cool off just a bit. And then let's see, I think there was one other one that I wanted to fix, but oh yeah, this one. Let's do this. I'm going to add a little bit more contrast to this. But you have all the different kind of color controls you'd need here. You've got this creative tab where you've got different looks that you can apply to it. You've got your curves. So a lot of you who use Photoshop, you know, you're probably familiar with a lot of the, or Lightroom, you probably know some of these things. But all of your different color correction tools are in this color panel or in the Lumetri color effect. But the color panel is the easiest way to access them. So let's just say that I'm good with all these color corrections. So I'm all happy about that. So let's move on. Anissa, were there any more questions? I saw the comment thing come up.
Just Teresa agreed. She literally said how similar it is to Lightroom. That makes it so much easier. If you're a Lightroom person, those controls should look very, very, very familiar and comfortable. So
Yeah, I think that was intentional on their part to sort of, you know, kind of keep things consistent. And I'm happy to see Adobe when they do that because I think it makes it easier for all of us. If you know one app, then you kind of know them all to a degree. I think, but anyway, let's keep moving here. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go back to that clip of me, that wonderful audio clip or video clip of me. It's so bad. Just terrible. I have to do scratch tracks for my like some of the videos that I do, and having to hear your own voice all day is really the most painful thing possible when you're editing. But so it's painful for me to hear myself here. Um, so I'm going to do one little thing. I'm going to trim this edit up a bit, clean that up a little bit. So here you now. I want you to hear my voiceover.
Seekers, as well as people headed to work every day.
So that sounds pretty good, but listen to me out in front of the library.
Great things about San Diego is our central library. It has an amazing dome on the top that makes
So you can kind of hear it doesn't quite sound as you know good. It you know it sounds like I'm outside. There's a lot of background noise to that. So I kind of want to clean that up so it sounds closer to what the voiceover sounds like. So easiest way to do that is I'm going to come to my audio panel. Again, I'm coming up to my workspace. I'm going to click on audio. It's going to open up my essential sound panel here. Now, the sound panel will normally you can see, oops, here, let me move this over a bit. This panel will have the option to auto tag clips. So when you bring video clips or audio clips into Premiere, Premiere will use its AI magic to look at those clips and analyze it and say, you know, is this dialogue, someone talking? Is it music? Is it a sound effect? Or is it just like ambient sound, you know, like sound of waves crashing on the beach or something like that? And it will auto tag those things so that when you come to the sound panel, it'll already be set up. Well, because it's the beta, I don't have that turned on in here. So I'm going to tag my different clips here. So I'm going to take all these clips right here and auto tag them as, or I'm going to tag them as dialogue. So now Premiere says, okay, all that stuff's dialogue. But again, we want to fix this clip because it doesn't sound quite right. Well, this little feature right here called Enhanced Speech. Again, AI magic. I'm going to click on this button. It's going to process that and then clean it up and make me sound closer to what the voiceover files sound like. So let's click that. And it's going to do its thing here. And because it's so short, it should go fairly quick. But I see if there's a question there, I'm happy to answer it while we're waiting for this.
there are two questions that I think will wind up having to come back to after this part of it. Scott asks, do masking features exist? And yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
And then Doug is asking, is the auto correction on the same level or par as that of Photoshop?
The correction, the color correction, you mean?
Yes, he says yes.
Oh, I would say yes and no. I mean, um, and again, I will admit that I'm not a Photoshop expert. The local Photoshop expert, Stephen Burns, is definitely not me. That would be a Stephen question, on how good those tools are. But I mean, I feel that the color correction tools inside of Premiere are very good for video. They're more aimed that way. And so, yes, they are very powerful and allow you to do a lot. Do they work the same way as the Photoshop tools do? In some ways, yes, in the fact that you have curves and different ways to control the things, color correction that way. But there's a lot of different tools that we use for video that it has. So I would say for video, yes, it's very powerful and gives you everything you need, but it's not quite the same as Photoshop because they're two different. They're trying to do two different things. One's for photos and images, and the other one is for video. Hopefully that helps.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, so let's play it back and see how it sounds. So again, here's what we were trying to simulate.
Day into downtown. So one of the great things about San Diego is our central library. It has an amazing dome on the top.
It sounds a lot better. I'm going to boost this level up a little bit.
The great things about San Diego is our central library.
So I think that sounds a lot better. Now, this little slider right here, I can adjust this. It's set to 7. That's usually the sweet spot. But you can hear if I pull it all the way down.
It has an amazing dome on the top that makes a crazy wind sound when the wind picks up. But it also has a school built into it, as well as many.
So you can hear it really cleaned that audio up and made it sound much, much better, closer to the voiceover file that I have. It got rid of all that background noise, which is fine. I don't really need to hear. I don't know about you all in your LA Central Library, but down here, the LA Central Library or the San Diego Central Library has a lot of trolley traffic and homeless people that usually create a lot of noise. And so this helps get rid of some of that background noise so you can just focus on what I'm saying. But yeah, it really does the trick. Now, excuse me, there is a thing, some of you may have heard about it, called Adobe Podcast. It's a website where you can that basically does this same thing. Right now, Adobe Podcast, or I forget what they're calling it. I think it's still podcast, but they're kind of on the second version of this. And so if you use this and don't get results that you're looking for, you can try to upload your video clip to that and you may get better results because that's, again, version 2.0. But I find that this one works really well. And if you've got audio that's pretty close, or just, sometimes it can be really bad. This can really help save you. It's great for those times when you are shooting with your cell phone or you're shooting with a camera that's got not a good microphone on it, and you really need to, improve your sound. It can really help save your production and your sound. So it's a very, very handy feature to use. All right, I need a little bit of water there. Any questions I can answer before we move on to the next thing?
I think we're in pretty good shape right now.
All right. All right, so I've cleaned up that audio. The next thing I want to do is add some music to it. So as luck would have it, Adobe was kind enough to, in this same Essential Sound panel, to add a bunch of free music. Now, is it the best music? I'm not going to say it's the best. I'm not going to say it's the worst. I'm just telling you, there's music there. So you may like the music, you may not. But if you need some quick music, they've got you covered. You can see there's a whole bunch of free tracks here. And if I bring them back to my timeline, my CTI, back to the beginning of my timeline, and I hit play on this music down here. Oh, let's see. I want to make sure it's set to no vocals. So you can see here, I've got for vocals, all the music has vocals, no vocals. I don't want vocals for mine. So let's just play this first track and hear how it sounds.
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling downtown is filled with both residents and workers. Our trolley systems bring shoppers.
That's not too bad. Let's try another one. Let's try this second one here.
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling downtown is filled with both residents and workers.
Yeah, maybe not. Let's try one more. Let's see here. We'll come down here. All right, let's try this one. I don't think it's going to work, but we'll just try it just to see.
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling downtown is filled with both residents and workers. Our trolley.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that's the track we want. But let's go back to that first track because I kind of like it. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to click right over here, and I'm going to, basically there's those 3 little dots right here. If I click on that and choose add to project, and boom, it creates a folder or bin with that music track. So if I click on that, I can drag that down in here, and boom, we've got our music now. Now you'll notice a couple things here. First off, the music is
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city.
Way too loud. And if you notice, it's way too long. So let's fix both of those issues. Let me come back over the edit tab here. So now I'm going to click on the music and I'm going to tag it as music. So now I've told Premiere that's a music track. So first thing I want to do is adjust the level of it. What I'm going to do is turn on what's called auto. Oh, actually, no, I take that back. Let's address the length of it. So I'm going to come to the duration button right here, or tab. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to click on this button that says remix. And let's see, I need the track to be about 56 seconds or so. So I'm just going to drag this little target duration to be about 56 seconds. So basically what I'm telling Premiere is I want you to take that music track and I want you to make it 56 seconds. So it's going to analyze the clip. It's going to look at the music and kind of figure out like, okay, how can I get it as close to 56 seconds as possible? You notice there's a little plus or minus 5 seconds here. And it did pretty good. Looks like it got it pretty close there. And you can see, I'm going to make this, let's do this. Oop, not that. Let's do this. If I make this really big, you can see, let's come right over here. There's this white squiggly line. So that's basically where Premiere did an edit in the music. And if you listen to just the music, let me solo this, you'll hear that you won't be able to hear the edit really at all. Sounds pretty flawless to me. So basically Premiere just shortened that clip up for me. I didn't have to do any editing on the music. I just kind of said, make it this length, and it did. So we got that. So let me do this again. Let me shrink this back up here. It's nice and big. Okay, there we go. So that took care of the length of it. And actually what I'll do is, since it went a little bit long, let me see if I have more of this shot right here, which I think I do. So we'll just add a little fade out on that clip. And then I'm going to come down and drag this little box right here to do a fade out on the music. Perfect. Okay, that works good. So, but it's still too loud. So what I will do to fix that, let's come back over here. This was the thing I was starting to talk about. It's called auto ducking. So basically what auto ducking is I'm going to tell Premiere, I want you to take that music track, and anytime you have dialogue, I want you to bring the levels down on that. And, I can choose to do it against sound effects or ambient sound, if I needed to, but usually you want it to come down with dialogue. So I'm going to click generate keyframes here. These settings for this, I usually find if you just leave the defaults, it works pretty well for you. But if you want to get in there and dial in stuff, you can. But just leaving it to the defaults will usually give you pretty good results. And so if I click generate keyframes, what it's going to do is analyze my audio, and you can see it lowered the volume. There's the waveform has kind of shrunk down. It means it's lower. And then right down here, it gets louder where we don't have it. So let's go ahead and play it.
Make for wonderful days at the beach. The waves are perfect for surfing, and the water great to swim.
So that's perfect. Come on. That's perfect. That's the way I want it to be. And then if we come down here,
swim in. Come visit San Diego.
And then it gets loud again. Wow, it sounds kind of like Hotel California a little bit. Kind of dig that. Anyway, so then the music gets loud again. So boom, we adjusted the music levels for our music with literally 2 clicks. So no going in to having to set a bunch of keyframes and finding the right level. Premiere just did it for me. So auto ducking and remix inside the audio panel are really helpful, fast ways to get your audio and your music taken care of. I mean, they will save you a ton of time. I really, really love those features. Okay, so still need to finish this video. So I want to add a little cool thing here that says, we got to have a call to action. So we'll say visit San Diego. There we go. Let me go back to my normal panel here. All right. Now, I am not a graphic design person, so please, those of you who are more graphically designed or designers and have that kind of skill set, do not judge me for my lack of creativity in this area, but I'm just going to use good old-fashioned Arial font, a little bold. Let's center that text up. There we go. But I do want it to kind of pop onto the screen here. I don't want it just to fade up, so I want something kind of cool. So I'm going to drag this clip out and make it a little bit longer. Now, a third-party effect, if you use Premiere, there's a lot of good transitions and effects inside Premiere. But if you're going to go get something on the outside, a third-party one, a company to look at is a company called Film Impact. I forget how much it costs to be a subscriber to them per year, but I think it's $100-something a year. But they have an amazing transition and effect pack that you can add to Premiere that really let you do things very, very quickly. There's another one called there's a company. The company's called Mr. Horse, I think. Is it Mr. Horse, Mr. Horsey, something like that? It's a silly name, but they make something called Premiere Composer, which is an amazing tool as well. But we're gonna look at Film Impact right now. So I have these Film Impact animations, and I just want that text to pop up on the screen. And so I'm just gonna add this little pop transition or effect right here, and it should add it on there. There it goes. And let me adjust this to make it a little quicker. And okay, I'll update when I'm all done. Thank you, Premiere, for letting me know that. But you can watch it now.
Visit San Diego.
Oh, that's perfect. See, it just kind of gives it that little springy little motion blur to come on.
Visit San Diego.
All right, so that looks good. So again, that is, I'm gonna add a cross dissolve here at the end. Track on, there we go. Fade out. So that was just Film Impact, the pop motion impact that I just added on, and
Visit San Diego.
boom, looks perfect. Now I can go in and customize that if I need to in my effects controls here. There's all kinds of different controls you have I can play with, but you know what? I like the way it looks, so I'm just gonna go with that. So we got that on now. So we're almost done with this, but there's a couple things we need to do. I'm very happy with the way the video is turning out, but I need to add captions. So if I come back to that text panel, remember we did that transcript before, so we have all this information. So if I need to make captions now, I literally, all I have to do is just come to this caption part tab inside my text panel, and I can create captions from that transcript. And it's going to ask me a couple things here. I'm just going to leave it all the defaults. And there are my captions. They're already done.
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bus.
All right. So now I want to adjust the way those captions look. So I'm going to highlight all of them. And I'm going to come to my properties tab, properties panel, I should say. And I'm going to change, again, I'm going to go with good old-fashioned Arial. Remember, no judgments for my font choices. Arial is actually a really good one for subtitles, I would say. For captions and subtitles, you always want to go Arial. I could have been more creative on the Visit San Diego, I will grant you. Okay, so, but I do want to add a little bit of background to this. And I'm going to change the parameters. I'm going to add 20 to this to give it a little bit more space around it, a little rounded curve or edges. So I'm going to change that to 5. So now you can see, because I highlighted all of my captions, it added for me.
Our trolley systems brings shoppers, fun seekers, as well as people headed to work.
Boom, captions are done. Now, remember, we did catch that one thing, La Jolla, that was spelled wrong in my captions here. So I am going to fix that. So that is not how we spell La Jolla. So now there's 2 places I can fix that. I can come over here in the transcript and fix that, or I can actually just come here in the caption and fix that. So I'm just going to do it in the caption real quick. Let's get that.
Our crown jewels. Stunning shorelines make for wonderful days at the beach.
Come on.
The waves are perfect for surfing, and the water great to swim in. Come visit San.
This is what happens when you use the beta for a demo. It gets all wonky sometimes, so please forgive me. But let's see here. Let me clear this in and out. Let's come back to where that is. All right, so let's change that to La Jolla proper. There we go. There we go. So now, so I was able to change it inside the caption here, or like I said, I could have come over here and changed it here. And then boom, we're fixed. So, but yeah, I got you. Thank you. Now those are all done. So captions are made. Any questions on captions that I can answer before I move on?
Teresa wanted to know, can you export the captions so they can be used as a separate file to upload to things like YouTube and other?
Yes, if you come over here, if you let me go to the captions tab and you come into these 3 little dots, you can export out a text file, a CSV file, or an SRT file. And I believe for YouTube, the SRT file is probably what you need. So that'll work.
Perfect.
So next thing I want to do is, being that it's San Diego and we're so close to the border, we have a large population that speaks Spanish, as I'm sure you all do in LA as well. And so we need to do Spanish subtitles. So what I can do now is I can come up here and click this. I can translate captions, and I want to change it to Spanish. Now, for right now, this is only in beta. You can do this. They're working on for release, and they only allow Spanish for people in Spain, not Mexican Spanish, Spanish. So I don't know who's calling my office this late, if you can hear the phone ringing, but I'm not going to answer it. So if I click Spanish, and now I can do multiple languages. So let's say I needed to do Danish, Dutch, Filipino, French, German. I need to do all those. I can click all of those and we'll do them all at the same time. But for right now, I just need to do Spanish. So I'm going to click translate. And then it's going to upload the caption. It's going to translate the captions. And then it will automatically build those captions right there. Now, let me turn those on. I'll turn off the English ones. And there we go. You can see those Spanish ones are there.
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling downtown.
Now, I don't speak Spanish, or, not very well, at least. I've forgotten a lot since my school days. But I'm going to, there may be a word or two wrong there, but I'm going to assume they're all right for this thing. But again, same thing. If I want to fix the way that they look, I can just highlight them, and I can just, turn on my background. And I'll turn this to 75. I'll turn this to 20. I'll turn this to 5. You can tell I've done this before. And boom, we've got all of those there.
Filled with amazing.
So we've added captions both in English and in Spanish. I'm just getting closer and closer to having what the client needs here. But before I get on to the next step, any questions on that?
That's looking really good. And I thought it was an interesting point. Brad on the side is providing some notes. He went and looked up to see if the city of San Diego had a style guide for contractors and visual media creators. And sure enough, they did. And he found out that Merriweather is their official font. So if anybody needed to know that, that's awesome.
Again, my hometown will never hire me to do a tourism video, and I'm cool with that. So
right.
Just nobody ever showed them that this is what I created for them. But this works perfect for what we're doing. So, all right. So we got our captions done. So now again, we talked about wanting to do stuff for social media. So this 16:9 version would be great for YouTube, or for it's going to be on like a monitor somewhere. Like, God forbid they show this at the airport when you land here. But this would be perfect for that. But if they want to put this up on Instagram, obviously we'd want to do something a little bit different, make a 9:16 version. Well, I could try to go through and reformat everything, or I can just do what's called auto reframe. And let me actually select my sequence here. And then under sequence, auto reframe sequence, I'll click that. And I can just choose whatever aspect ratio I need. So I have square 1:1, vertical 4:5, vertical 9:16. We're working at horizontal 16:9. Excuse me. So I don't need that, but but yeah, you can choose any of these different formats. Now, as somebody who normally works for a lot of big companies here in town, the last 3 or 4 years, I've noticed I am doing more and more social media stuff. It used to just be deliver them a video. It went up on their YouTube channel or their website, and that was it. Now we need the video itself, as well as these social clips and all this kind of stuff. So this feature has helped me out a lot. So literally all I have to do is set it to what I need it to be. I'm going to click create. And then it's going to create a whole new sequence at that 9:16 for me. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it on but down here it says analyzing for auto reframe. So it's basically going through and looking at all the shots. It prioritizes when it sees people. It tries to keep them in the frame, but it doesn't always get it right. I did a project not too long ago where I had this happy family walking on the beach at sunset, and then there was a mom and a dad and a little kid, and the kid was in between mom and dad's arms, and the auto reframe worked perfect. It started on the little kid, which is exactly what I wanted, and then it moved over to the mom's butt. And I'm like, okay, that's not what we need there. So I had to go in and manually adjust that. But, that was easier than trying to reframe everything on my own. So let's see how it did.
San Diego is a wonderful and vibrant city. Our bustling downtown is filled with both.
Eric, I think we lost your audio.
Oh, I wanted you to notice it resized the captions, so which is a huge help. Sorry, I muted my mic and had to cough. So,
No problem.
but yeah, it resized the captions for me automatically when it did the reframing. So another huge time saving thing that you don't have to mess with that. But let's keep playing here and see how the reframe did.
Residents and workers. Our trolley systems brings shoppers, fun seekers, as well as people headed to work every day into downtown.
So one of the great things about San Diego is our central library. It has an amazing dome on the top that makes a crazy wind sound when the wind picks up, but it also has a school built into it, as well as many conference rooms for people to rent and use.
Balboa Park is a beautiful place to spend the day. Our museums are filled with amazing sights, and it's perfect for the kids or an afternoon walk. La Jolla is one of our crown jewels. Stunning shorelines make for wonderful days at the beach. The waves are perfect for surfing, and the water great to swim in. Come visit San Diego.
Okay, so the Visit San Diego could be a little bit larger, but that's easy to fix. I can just bump that scale up a bit. Actually, let's not do that. Let's change the font size a bit. And then I'll recenter it. But you can see it did a pretty good job. There was a few things that I would want to fix. And let's go ahead and fix those. So there was the part where I talked about the trolley, and we didn't even see the trolley. So I can go ahead and find that shot, which I believe was right here. I'll show you how to fix it. So you
Residents and workers.
there it is. So I'm going to click on that. And if I come up to my effects controls, you can see auto reframe is basically just an effect that it adds on. And you can go in here and you have reframe offset, which will allow you to just kind of say, okay, I want you to be right there, auto reframe. That's what I want to see. And so now if we play it back,
Our trolley systems brings shoppers, fun seekers, as well as people
perfect. And now this one too, it's a little off. So we can go in and I'm going to try to adjust that. Let's get more just to see traffic here.
bustling
While you're
downtown
doing
is
that,
filled with.
So
Uh,
we What's
Teresa is
up?
asking, will it also reframe if you had still images in the sequence as well?
Yes, if there's still images, it will try to reframe the still image just by focusing on the part of the still image that it thinks you want to see the most. So it's going to look, it sort of prioritizes people or motion. So if it's a still image, it'll just sort of find, it most likely just picks a part of that still image that it thinks is the most interesting and goes with it. And you might need to adjust that because it's, there's not any motion in it. At least, it's not video with motion, I should say. So the other thing I wanted to fix, there was one shot down here at the beach where it kind of swooped over. I think it's this one.
Waves are surfing, and the water.
Yeah, you kind of see how it moves over really fast. That's too fast. So now for this one, I want to do something a little bit more tricky. So I'm going to come in here and click this button right here. This is overwrite generated path. And if I click on that, you'll see these are all the keyframes for the motion that it created. Now, if I just say, you know what, I don't want that last movement at the end. Now let's play it back and see how it looks.
The waves are perfect for surfing, and the water great
That's
to
much
swim
better.
in.
So that's much better. So that by clicking that overwrite generated path, it allows me to then go in and sort of, adjust the keyframes, even have more control over what it's showing in the auto reframe. So, but other than that, I think it looks pretty good. So I am happy. The next step would be to export. And to do that, you just come up to your export tab. And then it'll open up this window and you just got to choose where to save it. And then you've got these different, different formats you can use. I would say, if you want to keep it simple, you have this match source, adaptive high bit rate, which is a good way to go. That'll match the formatting and everything and get it, send out a 16 or 9x16 in this case, image. And you should be all set with that. And then I can go back and do the 16:9 if I need to. And down here at the bottom, I can choose to send to media encoder. And that'll open up Adobe Media Encoder, which will allow me to do multiple files at one time. So I can say, okay, I want to do the 16 by 9 and the 9 by 16. I need both of those versions. So I can click on send a media encoder and it'll send it over. It'll open up media encoder and load it up there to encode. I can come back in Premiere and choose edit, go to the other window or the other sequence, I mean, which is this one, and say, okay, this one all looks good. So I'm going to export and then, do the same thing and then choose send a media encoder. And then I can start encoding both of them. And that's it. Then the video's done. You've got I've got my award-winning Visit San Diego video in the can, and hopefully the client's happy and hires me again. Maybe next time I'll follow the brand guidelines for the city of San Diego. Kudos to whoever looked that up. But that is it. Any other questions?
And feel free to unmute yourself if you've got a question or a comment that you want to add in. Let's see. Brad says he will also allow you to drag and drop your Premiere Pro file and pull the comps from the project.
Into media encoder.
For auto,
Yes, into media encoder.
right.
Yep, you can do that.
Now, what I thought was interesting is I do video production. Actually, my coworker is here, Ernesto. He does literally this all day, every day, video production for social media and so on. And I love the ease of the workflow. What I miss is I used to do mine in Premiere Rush. And I know a few folks have also mentioned that as well, because a lot of the things that you showcased here are explicitly meant for social media editing through Rush. And I miss that they're not like putting energy and time into that application anymore. Have you heard anything more about Premiere Pro for, say, iPad or mobile along those lines? And if so, would you use it? Would you put it to use?
So, yeah, I think unfortunately, from what I understand, yeah, Rush is not being that supported much anymore. I know there is I believe is it called Project Violet? I believe it's Project Violet. So that's what they're sort of moving towards. Now, I am a Windows Android user, so I can't use Project Violet because as far as I know, it's only iOS right now. But I do use Rush. I mean, I use Rush when I go on vacation with my family all the time. It drives my wife nuts that I'm spending even more time looking at my phone. But I have used it for professional work too when I go out on set and we need to do location scouts and I need to slam something together real fast to show a client kind of what I'm thinking.
Right.
I have used it for that. But yeah, unfortunately, I think Rush is not long for this world. It's all I love Adobe. I think we all do. But I feel like they end of line things end of life things far too soon. I mean, who remembers what was the before Rush? There was something else. What was it called? Like I have it still on an old phone of mine.
It was another
It was another like video editing
type.
tool.
Yeah, it was like a light version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't last very long, and then they moved to Rush. And now they're kind of ending Rush and going on to Project Violet. And I feel like, who knows how long Project Violet will live. But yeah, I don't know how much more Rush will be supported. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had answered that. Whenever Project Violet comes out, I think that's probably the end of the life for Project Rush or for Premiere Rush. But it's a very good tool. I like it. So,
Brad, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, I could show you what Project Violet looks like.
We'd love to see
I have
it.
a way.
There, I'll stop sharing if you want to share it.
Go for it.
Yeah, let me get this turned on here.
And while he's pulling that up, if anybody has additional questions for Eric, feel free to go ahead and ask them. Nicholas says, once you've optimized speed when editing, how do you decide what should be cut or kept, especially for content where pacing affects how it's perceived?
Wow.
That's a good question, Nicholas.
That is a good question. Let me look at that one again here. Come down here in my chat here. So once you've optimized speed, when you say optimize speed of editing, do you mean the pacing and the flow of the video? I guess and feel free if you can, Nicholas, you can come off of mute and help me kind of.
Yeah. What I mean is like, you know how it is on social media. Everybody has ADD. What are some of the decisions that you make to grab that attention of your viewer, all the way till the end? And any of the tips and tricks that you came across,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I think, for me, you want to grab them, first I think, as much as you can, at least this is my own thing, engaging story or engaging, content is the big thing. Having something to say, and then, having footage that, is engaging. And by that I mean, there's motion to it. There's life to it. Things are moving. It's not just me standing in front of a library talking about the library. Have shots and the camera's moving. The shots are cutting. You have music that is very, I hate the phrase because every client uses it when they don't like music. We want something more upbeat. But having that music that's got a good beat to it that can drive the edit and help you tell the story better, and that gives you that good pace to cut on, and keeping, the images changing and moving faster, and building that pace. That to me is what helps, I think, those ADD people kind of stick with it. I've got two young kids at home, and I watch the stuff that they watch on YouTube, and it's amazing how fast paced it all is, and how the images just sort of fly by. Like they're so economical on how hard they cut. Jump cuts, totally fine. Things that I would never allow in video most of the time are totally acceptable in a lot of social media situations where you can just jump all around, just cut out those dead spots. Just there's if somebody pauses in a sentence, cut that pause out, and jump cut's fine. It's all about just getting it all out there. So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm still waiting for the connection. Apple's
And
being slow at connecting.
actually, Brad, we're gonna ask you to hold off on that because we just discovered that's under NDA, so we're not allowed to show that yet. We don't want to get the group in trouble, but just know that it is coming. There may be some sneaks online, but it won't be from us. So
I thank you for telling me that. I did not know that was still NDA. I thought that was
I didn't
available.
either.
I think it's kind of funny that you're bringing up an NDA a day after that thing with the, with the white, what I'm talking about.
I just saw it come up on the signal thing here, so I assumed it was okay. And Nisa's on the call. I figured it was okay. So
Yeah, I thought it was too, but Daniel made a good point, and we do want to make sure that we protect
I mean,
those.
it is showing that it's available to everybody.
Everybody
It's
or
on.
everybody in the beta group. That's why we have to double.
yeah, yeah. Is it everybody generally or everybody in beta?
Yeah, because you might be in the beta group.
But yeah,
I'm
if
trying
there's
to see
any
if I'm
other
logged in.
Okay.
any other questions on any aspect of Premiere, I'm happy to answer those too.
Anybody else? Did anybody pick up any cool tips you hadn't seen before? Oh, and Mark, feel free to go ahead, ask your question.
Yes, Mr. Addison, I'm wondering, can with the
Obviously, you let anybody in this group.
I know.
Jeez.
The closed captions, does Premiere have the ability to make like active captions like you see on Instagram where they boop and blop and they change color, each word is
Yes.
highlighted? Can you do that?
So first off, let me say that Mark is a friend of mine, and fellow crew worker.
I'm a ringer.
Yeah.
Eric is great. He's the best editor I've ever seen.
Don't pour it on too thick. Look, you'll
Sorry.
get your $20.
Yeah,
Pay
right.
him later.
But no, to answer Mark's question, yes, and it's funny because I was actually going to show that as part of this demo, but the plugin that does it wasn't working and kept crashing Premiere Beta.
Oh.
So I decided not to. But there is a program out there called Submachine, that will allow you to animate captions, and it will sort of animate, like, on Instagram where you can animate on each word at a time and change the size and all that.
Cool.
Submachine will do that for you. It's I forget the name of the company that makes it, and it's blanking in my head. But if you reach out to me afterwards, or you just Google Submachine for Premiere, there's a plugin you can buy, and yeah, it allows you that flexibility to do all that. It's a really good tool.
And
That's
I will
awesome.
add to that. I love that we have the option to do it. Just be very cautious about whether you should do it,
Mhm.
because there is something to be said for making sure that videos are accessible. And as an accessibility advocate, we do want to be cautious about things like readability,
Mhm.
machine access for folks who are using visual readers and things along those lines, where those caption um, animations and things can actually be more problematic than not even having captions in the first place. So that is something to just keep in mind and use it kind of sparingly as
Yeah.
well. Doug, you have a question? Go for it.
Yeah, not so much a question. You were talking about tips and stuff, and this was actually in Photoshop, and I hope I didn't pick it up in this same site or I'm just parroting it. But somebody had a was talking about various things you can do, and they were showing an aged image, yellowed and all that, like an old Kodak print that had faded, and they colorized it, even though it was a color image, and it suddenly looked a lot better. Uh, Even though it wasn't a great, grayscale or black and white, um, it did a lot more than you would have expected. And if there are analogous uses in other applications like Premiere, uh, that should be looked into. If you've got like a really crappy, uh, sometimes you can just push a button and it's just going to clean everything up, not just the color balance.
So there, video is a little bit different animal than stills. It's easier to
Yeah.
do that with stills because it's one frame, whereas video, is anywhere between 24 to 60 frames per second. And so it becomes trickier to do that. But having said that, there are tools out there that allow you to kind of clean up and fix bad video. One of them is from a company called Topaz. Topaz has a set of tools that will help you upscale. Like if you have old home movies that were shot back on VHS, for anybody that goes back that far, and you can take those and upres them up to 4K video, and it holds the quality pretty well. So yeah, there are tools that do that inside Premiere. Um, they do cost a bit of money, but as for like it with video you don't get you don't get restoration issues really because it's not a photo kind of degrades and then you scan it and then you can go in and fix it, whereas video is either on tape, which just kind of goes away, or it's a file, which is somewhat incorruptible. So it's not quite the same thing, but you can take old video and upscale it, and fix. If you had Super 8 films, one thing I've seen is people take old Super 8 movies and then drop it into Topaz, and it makes it look amazingly well.
That's a pretty good analogy. What about like when you did that extend, did you call it?
A Gen Extend, yeah.
Yeah, Gen Extend, good term. Um, uh, it scanned what was there for context and look and feel, basically. Um, can the same principle be applied to scanning? You're talking about frame by frame being, and stuff like that. Scanning the sequence of frames, presumably, not a 2 hour movie, but, maybe full cuts, um, for context, and the overall look and feel, and then cleaning things up in that way.
Can I interject something for
Yeah,
that answer?
yeah.
That's actually being done right now. I don't know if anybody follows a gentleman by the name of Scott Hanselman. He's a Microsoft developer and a big tech advocate. Has a wonderful TikTok and Blue Sky channel where he deep dives into a lot of things. And one of his favorite things is one of my favorite television shows is called A Different World, that aired in the 1990s after the Cosby Show.
I remember
And
that.
yeah, and it just got picked up on Netflix. But if anybody is very familiar with Netflix, Netflix has a requirement that everything that it airs be widescreen. And of course, that show was shot in the original, was it 4 by
4 by 3
format? Yeah. And so they upscaled it using AI. And you can tell in some areas for those die-hard fans who are really into it, you can see where the AI is not necessarily quite up to par. And I think they're just trying to hope that the quality is just, it's on the screen just split second enough to where your mind is going past that point and not looking at those details. So
That
that you
kind of goes to my comment about
yeah.
looking for little micro AI dumb mistakes in
Yeah.
the Gen extent, I think was the term used, because anything, even the really good Photoshop generative fill, there's going to be little things that don't quite look right, and the more you look in any AI, the more mistakes you're going to catch. And the more you zoom in, the more you're going to catch.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in enough, you're going to catch weird things going on in weaves. And it's just everywhere. And it's not just people, and it's not just making up words or some of the other crazy stuff that's either entertaining or scary, but that's got to be going on in other ways too.
Yeah, I mean, AI is one of those things that, I mean, it again, I think you could do a whole meeting just about that, and not just the technology side of it, but more just the implications and how, it saddens me to hear that Netflix is foregoing just showing a different world, in 4 by 3, which is how it was created. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when they started colorizing movies and what a bad idea that was. And to me, changing these 4 by 3 shows and upscaling them to 16 by 9 just because you have some silly requirement is ludicrous to me. Because yeah, it's not going to look right. You
Yeah,
can't stretch the image.
that's as bad as remaking something that doesn't need to be remade,
Right.
or stuff like that.
Yeah. What's the line from Jurassic Park? It's like you were so busy trying to think, coming up. You never stop to think, should you do this? And it's that kind of situation. No, that shouldn't be done, in my opinion. But
Yeah, anybody who praises Titanic, I tell them to watch A Night to Remember.
Yeah.
Then you know where Cameron got a good number of his scenes from.
Right.
But it's AI technology is coming, and I think it's a tool that can help in certain situations. And like I said, the main time that I'm going to use that is when I have to cut interviews up, and when I need, when I've got somebody that I'm cutting in the middle of a sentence. But even there, in the beta testing that I've done with it, it's 50/50, on getting what I need. Sometimes it gives me somebody kind of just mouthing words, and I'm like, no, 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 no. They need to just be looking at the camera. Nodding is fine, or moving their head, whatever, but I need them to be still so I can transition out. And so I run it 3 or 4 times before I get that result.
You know what's going on here? I'm an illustrator, and one thing that just drives me bats is illustrations by people who don't understand what they're illustrating. And so you see things that you can, if you look at an airplane and you know that plane and you can see the wing is wrong because somebody worked from photograph and just kind of drew the plane. And the technique is, may well be competent, but the image, it's just wrong. And that's because the person doing that did not understand it. Now, you take that a few levels up and you've got what's going on in AI with the wrong number of fingers or legs, words, fake signs with words that are wrong, and and I'm seeing it in fake images of aircraft where there's a jet intake in the radar nose, and and helicopters with tree branches on them. that it's simple abstractions that AI does not understand because nobody taught it. So that's my 2 cents.
Teresa, I saw you had your hand up earlier. Did you want to ask a question or add a cool point for us for point of discussion? Anything?
I wanted to say hi. I
Oh.
haven't seen Eric in a long time, and I got an email this morning about this presentation, and I was like, I think I can make that work. So happy I could be here. Eric, can you share your email so that I want to reach out to you outside of this and
Yes,
catch up?
I will do it to you right now in the
I
here.
I may have opportunities I'd like to talk to you about.
That's the way
Okay.
to network.
Yep.
Teresa is one of my favorite people in the world. I will just say that.
Oh,
Ours too.
we both live in San Diego. When's the last time we saw each other, Eric?
Well, hey,
Like at Max a couple years ago.
well, then let's fix that. So we got to fix
Yeah, we got to fix that for sure.
that.
But a great
for joining us.
presentation. I haven't opened Premiere Pro in a couple years because it makes my eyes dance around in my head when I look at it. But tonight I was watching you. I'm like, I gotta give this a try again. I think I can do it. Like all these tools you were showing were.
If there was only somebody local that would be willing to give you private lessons, I mean,
Yeah. I think you might know somebody.
I
At
might.
least he didn't throw you into After Effects.
That too. Yeah.
By the way, that's how I feel when I open up like Illustrator. Good Lord. I get lost in Illustrator. It's just like, what am I doing? That's like me rounding my car into like, the bad neighborhood. It's
funny.
like, I do have no business being here because I don't know
I'm
any of this
sitting
stuff.
in a hotel room in Carpinteria because tomorrow morning I start recording a new Illustrator course at LinkedIn Learning.
Hey.
So I got to get off this call and get back to practicing so I don't mumble my way through my scripts tomorrow. But it was
Well, I
great.
just want to say thank you, Teresa, for joining us. Thank you for everybody that's joined in. And most importantly, thank you, Eric, for this fantastic presentation. Everybody is like excited and stoked. Everybody hands applause. Woo!
I just put my email in the chat. So feel free.
You're got a Hotmail, Eric? You do not have a Hotmail.
Yeah, I do.
Isn't that the only one? There's a bunch of us in here that do.
I'm old school. I've had Hotmail since.
That is really old school.
So.
All right, I'm copying.
All right. And before we end off this meeting, I know we want to go ahead and get to our raffle. So Daniel, you've got the floor. Go for it. Thanks,
I'm gonna head
Teresa.
out. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Teresa.
Go for it, Daniel. Hey, Beverly.
Hi, can I interject one quick thing?
Sure.
The other day we had our InDesign user group and another anniversary, a major anniversary of InDesign's coming up in October. And Alan Bell wanted to see if we could potentially reach out to other user groups in the LA area or people willing to drive a little bit so we could finally have an in-person meeting and celebrate InDesign's anniversary in October with the party crowd that's InDesign users. So if it makes sense for your user group to kind of connect with Alan, maybe you can reach out to him and see if there's some people that are part of this user group, and there's other ones. Andrew's got the Photoshop one, and Hannah's still roaming around, and there's Adam Bell. So we've got all these different user groups. So it'd be kind of nice to get enough people from the various LA-based user groups to actually do an in-person gathering and all get together and celebrate in October the InDesign anniversary.
I think we can do that. I think, Daniel, what do you say? Right?
I'll speak to Alan.
InDesign users are partiers.
I love it. That's excellent.
Cheers to
Thank
that.
you, Beverly. Cheers. Water bottle. Okay, Daniel, we're ready.
Okay, so the price for tonight is a 5-week Photoshop workshop from Stephen Burns.
Okay.
I know Stephen. We did a Death Valley workshop together years ago.
So you ready?
Here we go. Oh, it got fast. My eyes started spinning.
I know. I'm getting dizzy.
All right. And that's Bradley. Woo! Congratulations, Brad. You are our winner. Go ahead.
I was going to say, spin it again.
So you
Oh,
know,
you
Made
won
him
that
collaborate
one.
on stuff already, so go ahead and spin
I
it
won
again.
that,
Okay.
and I ended up it's not workable for me, but so we settled on a Photoshop training.
Beautiful. That works. That's a good compromise, a good offset. So that's good.
Oh, not me. Oh my gosh. No.
Still got to pay for it
No,
though.
I'm happy to offer. I mean, Steven's a great guy. I know him, and you guys should just take him up on one of his Death Valley workshops. They're so much fun. We had a great time together, and
well, the
he's a
next
really fun photographer.
I've
So
been
yeah,
to Death Valley and Bodie and all those places.
yeah.
I'm yearning to go there again, and
there's also a Death
still
Valley
able.
workshop that he's giving
But I don't have
30% off
the
for one person.
It's
Say that
what?
one more
After,
time. One
after
more
we
time,
draw
Daniel.
this prize, one person, whoever wants, will get like a 30% off Death Valley workshop from Stephen Burns as well.
Okay.
But that will be like up
Okay.
for grabs. So should I remove you or you want to win this one?
No, go ahead. I'd like somebody else to enjoy this because I've actually worked with Steven, and I'm on my own workshop in India next month. So
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
hopefully seeing tigers in India. I'm on a tiger safari.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Issa Fowler. Issa, I don't believe has joined us this evening.
Oh,
Yeah. Is she still winning? Is
I've
it a winner
saved
must be
well,
present, or are you going to send her?
Yeah,
the
let's.
InDesign user group has to be present, and you have to respond within
Usually
5
you don't,
seconds.
but this one it gets like
I played with the Bengal tiger cub when I was a kid at Marine World Africa, USA.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
Little
Well,
guy,
Orly is not
like,
here.
it was like a puppy.
Well,
I
these
guess
are wild
Our
ones that weigh
boss.
like 800 pounds, so I'm gonna stay in the
I guess
vehicle,
the
Doug.
handler was distracted with the lecture and all that or something, and no one's gonna get to do that again.
Sherry. Sherry, you're here. Would you like to claim your prize, Sherry? Let's see. She said, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Lucy, I unmuted you.
Okay, I'm here. I'm very happy.
Yay!
Great.
Congratulations.
Go to Death
I
Valley.
am
It's
so
such a
happy.
beautiful place.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
the
All right,
we
Daniel, what's her instruction?
Okay, I'm
your
ready.
email and phone number, and I'm gonna give it to Stephen. He's gonna connect with you to set up everything.
Okay, I got his email, so that's great.
You could
Excellent.
also email him right now and just tell him that you won this here.
Okay. I live in LA, so but I'm happy to travel. So
You ever been to Death Valley?
I have, not for a long time.
That's cool.
Yeah, workshops are fun there. There's so many beautiful places to photograph. It's a great, and Steve and I actually co-led a workshop there
The Death Valley
many,
one,
many, many years ago. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's
this
good to go with people because it's good to like, go together and yeah, it's great.
the Death Valley
You
thing's like a
wouldn't really benefit from the
person.
workshop as much as others.
Hold on to everybody. Go ahead, Daniel. He's trying to give some last instructions. I'm sorry.
5-week Photoshop workshop. That's not the Death Valley.
Okay.
For the Death Valley, one person could right now claim 30% off, and I'll tell Stephen who that is, but only one person. So whoever wants that option, let us know right now if anybody does.
Okay. I'll
Feel free to unmute. And is this our last one? Our last prize?
Yeah, so the other prize, it's like whoever wants it, there's one, but there's no point spinning for that one since it's 30% off.
Okay. All right. So if you are interested in the Death Valley excursion, photo excursion, go ahead and drop your info in the chat to Daniel and let him know, or you can email us directly and let us know. Okay. All right. So just to wrap up, I want to just double check and make sure, does anybody have any last questions for Eric? Because Eric has been a true trooper waiting for us during the raffle portion of this. Any last questions? Okay. All right. We are good to go. So everybody, big hand, round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much.
everybody.
Wonderful.
Great presentation.
Natalie, once that's out of beta, we'll definitely have.
Sorry.
If you want to demo it, like in the future, once it becomes public for everybody, once we get the go ahead, we could set that up too.
Yeah.